Okay.
No, I got all my lines made up already. You can't
Good.
do that.
Okay.
All right, I'm rolling now.
Okay. Oh, so you know what? Hang on. She wrote on the back of this page, so it's bleeding through, so I can't. Okay. Rudson, we know of your affiliation with the Grateful Dead, but tell us about your background in regards to training, as far as mixing and being a tech.
Well, I'm not a genius tech by any stretch of anybody's imagination. I think that I know what I like. When something sounds good, I think, I'm happy with it. And I know if I don't like the way something sounds, and I know my way around a certain amount of gear to where I can work with that. And I think the only reason why I can work with this band is probably because they sound good to begin with. I don't have to fake anything. It's making them sound the way they sound. I don't know, I'm too humble. Maybe I should rephrase that.
Too humble. Okay. Can you tell us, in your opinion, the difference between the Steve Kimock band taping scene and the taping scene for other bands you've worked with?
Well, we let people, for instance, the first thing would be we let people like yourselves tape from on stage, and as far back as I can remember, the Grateful Dead, that never happened. Everything was behind the soundboard, and I've only worked with one other band. I'm sheltered. I've only worked with Grateful Dead and Steve and a band called the Victims Family. I did front of house for about 10 years ago, and no one was interested in taping us. So.
What's your view on tapers, other than myself?
I'm going to speak slowly because I don't want to say anything that I don't mean, and the lies that I tell you, I want to be carefully formulated. Some of them are a pain in the ass and pushy and will lie to you, so I appreciate that people want to tape because that means they like the music and they want to hear more of it. As long as everybody is respectful, and honors us, the band, and, we'll do the same for them. And be as accommodating as we can be. Wait, hold on a second. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Is that too loud? Perfect!
So, what's with the hat?
The hat. Oh, I was in Fayetteville a few months back on Halloween, and I was looking for a Halloween costume. And there's a place down the street from the town square there, and they had a costume hat. And I put it on, looked in the mirror, and scared myself. I thought I looked just like Malcolm McDowell in Clockwork Orange. And I knew I had a white shirt in my bag, so I went ahead and got a cane too, and it stuck. I think I probably keep wearing them now because sometimes I have to race through the crowd for one reason or another, and people know who the guy in the hat is, and they accommodate life and needing to get through there quickly.
Okay, tell us the Rudson story, but not the Bergfest Hot Stuff story, please.
I wasn't there.
That wasn't me.
That wasn't me, man. That was my evil twin.
So tell us a Rudson story.
What's a Rudson story? Yeah, you're going to have to let me come up with it.
All right, we can get back to that if you want. Or if you don't know a good one, you can make one up.
I'll come up with it when we go through
Okay. What do you feel is like the biggest challenges with mixing music with vocals as opposed to mixing music without vocals?
Vocals are sometimes difficult to mix. It has to do with the performer, and if they know how to sing into a microphone as much as anything. If they don't, you're screwed. I mean, you have to chase them around all night, and they're bound to have, not the best sounding gig, if they don't hold the mic in the right place. Because then you'll get everything they aim it at. Some people hold it too close and it sounds nasally like that, and other people hold it too far away and you try to chase them with gain and you'll get feedback. But luckily now I don't have to worry about that.
Tell us some things about growing up with the Grateful Dead.
I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was weird. It was like I had two lives. You know, I still live out in the country in Sonoma County. And I went to a school that's just like Little House on the Prairie, and I'd come back from tours and tell the kids what I did, and the teachers at first would call my parents. I'd be sitting in the corner, and they'd call my parents and say, "Your son's lying. He said he just got back from Egypt." You know, no, he did that. He says he's been here, here, and here. Well, he has. Everybody in that scene for the longest time was very. They were all just really nice people, you know. It wasn't, even though it was business. To me, I never really saw that. Even hanging out with, you know, when I was a little kid, Rock Scully was the manager at the time, and you know, I'd draw pictures and stuff. And Jerry, you know, he was into science fiction, and we'd watch monster movies and science fiction movies. And, you know, it just seemed like good music and, you know, nice people. You know, so. You know, now things, you know, people are getting older, things are changing. The whole rock and roll scene has turned more into business. It's either, you know, it's the way you got to do it now. You know, so it's a little bit different. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a wonderful experience.
When was your first Grateful Dead show?
I don't know. Sometime in 1971.
How did you meet Steve?
I heard about Steve. I heard from some other people, and they said that he was a Jerry Garcia imitator, so I wouldn't listen to him. And then I met him finally at the other one's gig. We kind of became friends there, and then he invited me to some KVHW gigs. I think the first one was at the Phoenix Theater. It was in April, about 5 years ago, something like that. And I noticed that he, you know, they didn't have anybody helping him out, and they're all working way too hard. And I offered help. He said, "We don't really need help, but if you want to come down to Palookaville tomorrow, you're more than welcome to ride with me." And so I think I drove down with Bobby Vig, and I drove back up with Steve. And after that, he just kept inviting me along, and we went on a little Northwest run. We had Terry Haggerty there with us. And on the way back, he said, "You know, I'm really happy with the help you've been providing. And, we'd like you to, you know, stay with us," or me particularly, he said. "What would you like your job to be?" And I told him I wanted to help him with his gear, and I wanted to get some kind of merchandise thing happening, because it wasn't really happening. And that kind of fell by the wayside, and I stuck more with the gear and evolved into the sound thing. And that's how I met him in the long form.
Well, tell us a Steve story.
Well, it was really fun back when I first started hanging out with these guys, because there was no real structure to it, other than we all showed up on time and played the gig. You know, we'd say, "Okay, we're playing in Portland." We just drive to Portland. Where are we staying? Oh God, we'd figure that out finally. The next morning, you know, we'd go to the gig, and the next morning after that, we'd go have some breakfast and find a paper and find out where we were playing next, and drive there. And he knows all the, you know, cool breakfast spots and the funky hotels. That was back when he had the longer hair. You'd wake him up in the morning in his hotel room, he'd open the door in some boxer shorts with this big afro and a smile on his face. I think he should keep growing his hair. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Can you tell us the difference between, besides the obvious difference, but can you tell us the difference between being a guitar tech for Steve and sound man? Or just for anybody being a guitar tech and a sound man?
My arms aren't nearly long enough because I want to reach on the stage from the front of house and do things, but I can't. You know, the thing I liked about helping him with his guitars and doing the tuning and all that is that I like to feel that I'm helping the show sound a little bit better. You know, I'm not just a mercenary that can sit there and scare somebody off. I want to help the show sound better. And as much as I miss being on the stage, I value more being able to interpret the music that I know how it sounds. I've been listening to it, I think, for a little, for a while, and from vantage points where, the band is. And that's what they're trying to get out of those speakers. So I'm happy and honored to be able to move out there, yet I miss being on the stage.
Do you play any instruments?
I don't play the tuba.
No.
I don't play the...
No, now which ones don't you play? Which ones do you play?
I've grown up playing drums. Because after in 78, when my dad switched from working with Jerry to working with Mickey, I became close with him. And, I would sit right behind him on the drum riser and watch him play. Sometimes I'd have to go behind Billy because they got jealous. So yeah, I play the drums, but I mess around on guitar and bass too. I would never call myself a player, but I know a few chords and scales. I want to learn how to play the piano. I think it's a wonderful instrument for communicating with people who can play guitar and bass and piano. It's good. I would love to learn to play the piano.
Will we ever see you jamming with SKB?
No, the drummer we have now is too good. I almost got up there before, but
Have you ever written any songs?
Yeah. You mean lyrics or music?
Yes, either or.
Yeah. And it's instrumental, kind of like Planet Drum-esque, percussion stuff. Because I worked on that with all those artists, and they're amazing. And I was kind of moved by what Zakir, Baba, and Siku, Frank Cologne, and Ayrton and Flora. Those guys are, incredible. So I was into that for a while. I tried to write lyrics because I was in a band in high school, and we had a guy trying to write lyrics for us, and they all stunk. Mine were much better. I took them and I sent them to Bruce Hornsby and asked him to read them for me. And he called me back and said, it's definitely not Bob Dylan or Robert Hunter stuff. I think that was a nice way to let me down. So I gave up on trying to write lyrics because they only come to me when I'm in the shower and the words just drip off the paper.
What's your favorite SKB song? I don't know. I never heard that one. How's it go?
It's a new one. I'm not playing it yet. It's still in the works.
Yeah, okay. Last question. Can I put my mics on stage tonight?
No.
I told you. See? I told you. Okay, hold on. We actually got this thing Lisa wants us to end here. With all your experience with Grateful Dead music, which has a definite form, I can't read this, definite form, but still is free form, what is your opinion of the instrumental freeform style of SKB? I.e., do you see a difference in the effect vocalist jam music has on an audience, or something like that?
I'll answer that question backwards.
Okay.
The effect it has on an audience is if you have a vocalist, you get more people coming, because there are a lot of people that just need vocals, and then they remember those vocals. They might hear the song one time, and then some catchy line comes, and then there are other people who think the vocals get in the way. So, when it comes down to it, the bottom line, you have a better chance of making more money if you have a good vocalist. But we're not really, I don't think that this band is willing to take any chances like that. I'm sure if the perfect person came along and wanted to be a supplementary part of the band, but not necessarily somebody who's already there, that it might be a good idea. But that just hasn't happened, and this band is progressing fine how it is, and I love it. You know, I don't need vocals myself. I need great musicians.
Exactly. So that's it. Thank you.
I'll come up with a Rudson story later. You
Okay.
can make that up.
I'll make it up. I played the fifth.
Thank you, Rudson.
Did I do okay?